What is good? This is Talks Within Reach. Welcome in. If you guys are new, if you guys aren't, thank you so much for tuning back in. We appreciate you more than you know. Fancy, Matt, how are we, boys?
What's going
Doing
on?
well. Doing well. Hope you all had a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, my Thanksgiving was awesome. Lots of good food. Not so good football, but we did have one good game. Leading right into that, I guess. Perfect transition for you there, Fancy. Is there any game at all, Fancy, for you? Let's just say last week, 6 days ago, 7 days ago, as this podcast gets put out. Any games that come to mind for you, Father Fancy, that you would just absolutely love to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we started off our Thanksgiving on the right foot. Packers in Detroit, underdogs, and
It's okay, Matt. Don't cry.
we
Who'd
we
have thought?
saw
Who would have
we
thought?
saw we saw the best Jordan Love we've probably seen this year, and we saw the same Dan Campbell with a different level of success, and I think that really played into later, like it just start. I mean, I can't get over the fourth down attempts. I think 1 of 5, 1 of 6 they converted, and I mean you leave 6 to 9 points hanging every time, and it's like that's the difference of the win. And I mean, a lot of sacks. We got to Goff quite a bit, and I definitely think the Goff that we saw in the first half was the Goff that the Rams got rid of for Stafford. The Goff we saw in the second half was the Goff that the Bears are worried about. It's I mean, he was definitely making a strong push to come back. It just was a little too late.
Yeah,
So
just not enough time is what it came down to, right? So
yeah, every drive was really eating up a lot of clock. I mean, they were really burning up a lot of time. And to go down to do all that, go for it on fourth down and not make points, it's like he coming out empty-handed.
Yeah.
So I mean, definitely happy for the Packers, but I just think the Lions might have been just a tad mismanaged and maybe a little surprised in that first quarter. That kind of threw them off a little bit. Took them a little bit to get back on track. So
Yeah.
next year, Lions. We'll see y'all later.
Yeah, I mean, last week when we recorded the podcast, Fancy, you right before we ended, you said that we get our first upset because we talked about whatever, and Fancy said we get our first upset the first game of the week, and it did happen. Um, as Matt said when we did some Turkey Day trivia, which is on our socials, if you guys haven't seen it, the Lions are the most losing team on Thanksgiving, and they just continue that trend. So I wish you would have told me that that they haven't won a Thanksgiving game in like 14 years before I bet a lot of money on them, Matt.
I
But
I know
appreciate
I
that
told
call.
you I told
Yeah.
you a little
You
late.
you put me after I put $50 on everything else hit, but that. So I mean,
Yeah,
I'll send you my Venmo.
yeah.
But for me, another homie pick for me, Eagles. I think being unbiased, I don't know about your guys' opinions on it, but I think if you guys were able to sit down and watch the whole game, probably the game of the year so far. I'm okay with it. I hope that game gets topped because I just love watching football games like that. But just nothing but, the Eagles came out super slow like they've been doing in the first half. I mean, I think they had the one drive that went 79 yards, and other than that, everything was punt, turnover, whatever. And I think what's happening, it hasn't been announced yet, and I think I'm waiting this week to see. Our offensive coordinator has been calling the plays in the first half the last 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden, I'm pretty sure he isn't calling in the second half. There's a bunch of theories around it and stuff like that because it's an entirely completely different team and different play calling in the second half in both games. So I don't know if Nick Sirianni is the one that's calling plays in the second half after the slow start. But that team has looked completely different coming out in the second half. But 37-34 in overtime. Hurts gets it done with his legs to win it, and you bet your ass I was screaming and everything else. But some fun things to look at, man. When it comes to the Eagles, is trailing at halftime. The Eagles are 5-0. And to put that in perspective, the rest of the NFL is 35 and 129. So, I mean, we talked about it. We'll get into the Eagles, 49ers, because I know all you guys are going to be, you know, picking the Eagles once we get to that page, right? And
Spoiler alert. No.
spoiler alert, yeah, exactly. But another thing just to get into before we ask you, Matt, but Eagles record against 500 plus teams, 5-0, and the rest of the NFC East against 500 and above teams, 0-14.
Wow.
NFC East has not won a single game besides the Eagles above 500.
Can we get the Eagles on an indoor game though? Because these past 2 weeks,
You
just in
know,
the rain.
man, and I don't know where you're going with your shocker of the week or whatever you want to talk about here, but one thing that I didn't realize is the last, and I know Fancy, you're going to have a whole different take on this, but without being biased, the last 8 or 9 games now I've heard Josh Allen has played in snow, rain, or some, I forgot what the other was, snow, rain, or like freezing temperatures. He's played in like the shittiest weather to be a quarterback in the last 8 or 9 games. Not saying that that's excusing his turnovers and all that other stuff, but it's like you said, we always said it with Peyton too in Indianapolis, right? When he was in Indianapolis, it's like, what is Peyton going to do when he goes to go play, Tom Brady and the Patriots in -20 degree? You know what I mean? What is the Peyton we're going to see? And
Right.
then we obviously saw him in Denver with the glove, but it is a good
Yeah.
question to see how that team's going to play. All teams, right? I mean, besides
Mhm.
the West Coast teams, but the weather definitely being a factor in a lot of those matchups. So
I don't count the weather so much. Not to, and it's not. This isn't at Josh Allen. This is um this is at the Packers because the Niners have came like back to back years at the NFC Championship to Green Bay in shitty conditions, in shitty weather. I mean, and it didn't affect them. So uh they came out with the win and then they moved on. Um and you can hate on it's like, oh, maybe Josh Allen, it's tough, but it's like there's another quarterback there too that
no,
doesn't seem to have the same struggles.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
but it's going to be different, and I love the outdoor factor,
Oh,
so
like
much. I love
football.
seeing the wind. I mean, the kick that
Oh,
put y'all into overtime.
did you
What a
guys see
leg.
the clip of Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelsey on the sideline when they
Yeah,
went in,
yeah.
and they're just in
Yeah.
there,
Like it's
and
time.
Jason Kelsey was like this, shaking his head because he was pissed. He's like, it shouldn't come down. He knew it shouldn't come down to that. He
Hmm.
had two
Right.
false starts himself on that one drive, which
Oh
was
yeah.
just it hurt.
Rare.
It hurt, and it's like as a fan, it's like I couldn't even be mad because I'm like he's done so much for us, but I'm like, man, it hurts
Just
more
bad
when it's a
bad
guy
timing.
you don't even put it in perspective though. He's been our center for so long, and we haven't had to worry about that situation like other teams. Some other teams have center problems, right? And it's like
Uh-huh.
we haven't had to worry about that in for so long that it's like it really makes you appreciate how good Jason Kelsey really is. Because it's like, man, we haven't had that issue in a long time. Like,
Yeah.
so
Good for him. Good for him getting that chance to kind of get out there and prove it again.
yeah,
Like I got you. I got you. Thank
yeah,
you for that opportunity
yeah,
to prove that, I'm not
yeah,
gonna let this get to me.
yep,
So, I think that's a Kelsey thing.
yeah. It definitely is. Matt, is there any other game that really kind of just sparked
Yeah.
your interest?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at a couple of the different games to talk about, deciding whether to talk about the great scoring game of the Giants over the Patriots, or the maybe more impressive no touchdown win out of another primetime loser type game from the Bears.
Yeah, that your
Um,
guys' NFC North really just sucks.
yeah, that was bad. That's hopeful for the Lions when you see
Hopeful for
a
the
just
Packers.
absolute shit show of a game like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of the games I was interested in, going into the week was the Jags. Seeing them bounce back, and this Houston team that's been,
Man, they
um,
fought.
yeah, just looking good, and that it came down to the wire. Um, couldn't get that field goal to go through. But again, I mean, if you look at those numbers in the quarterbacks, both threw over 300 yards. Another couple touchdowns out of CJ. Um, what I
Big
like
Tank.
just because I have Ridley in my home league,
Mm.
he again back-to-back weeks
Yep. Trying to get
was
consistent.
yep, was showing what the reason I drafted him. He showed that promise in the first week. He's been a little quiet. Back-to-back weeks, getting touchdowns, getting the yardage. So he's trusting in Ridley again, which is nice. And then another good game out of Nico Collins, 104 and a touchdown. But yeah, so that to me that Jags game, good win for the Jags to get it moving in the right direction again, and Houston just showing that they are a competitive team
Yep.
as we move through the remainder of the season.
Yeah, Travis Etienne not getting in on all those goal line carries that he had. He got down on the 1 and 2, I think 4 or 5 times that game. It cost me $500. So that was
Oh
fun to
damn,
watch.
I
That cost
I'm
me. I still won 40. It's the prize picks, the flex play Friday thing or
that
whatever.
one,
But
yeah, okay,
yeah, but still, I mean, I'm watching it and I'm like, this is all I need. Well, I needed Pacheco and he got 2 later on, but like I'm like, all I need is this to get in, and he just kept getting. Oh, it's just like
Yep.
But
I'm definitely excited to see Stroud and Tank
dude,
Dell
yeah,
throw
that's
together. Like that's a
man.
good duo, rookie duo coming up, right?
And D'Amico Ryans is such a good fit for that team. I mean, it really is. He just fits that Houston Texans, their identity there. But man, I feel like there's good losses and bad losses, and that is such a good loss for the Texans to be up
True.
there with, I think, the number 2 seed in the AFC at the moment. I'm like, man, what a good. I mean, we didn't expect. I mean, honestly, with you, I think they already reached. I don't know what the over under was for wins on the year, but I mean, I think they already hit it. I
I
mean,
think they were the first team. I think they were the first team to hit
yeah.
it because the bar was so low. I think they
I
already
think
hit it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like any win going forward, even if they don't make playoffs, I think I think they get a wild card spot next week. We talk about the playoff picture, like I said. But it'll be interesting to see where they end up this next week on kind of if they're in the hunt, a wild card spot,
Yeah.
etc. It'll definitely be tough to take the Jags out and to win the division now that they just lost that head to head. But speaking of
Yeah.
players, you're talking about Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and CJ and all them. We'll get on to our Giraffe Kings, where yours truly wins another one, an ugly one, by the way, one of the lowest scoring winners.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, hey, we're not saying tell our bets. We're not saying tell our lineups. We're just throwing these out, and we all pick some ugly quarterbacks.
Well, and so to be fair, right? When I couldn't switch it for the Thanksgiving week, so we missed out on 4 games. Of player,
Yeah.
Five
to
games
select
Black
through.
Friday. You missed 5 games in a slate. Sunday's usually packed.
Yeah, so I mean that did kind of skew our choices a little bit to give us to give us a little bit of wiggle room. But you're right, it was
It was
not.
one.
It doesn't look great. Yeah.
Yeah. Tennessee still got it done, but Will Levis did not do it. And then Etienne not only screwed me on the parlay, but he screwed me on this as well. Not screwed me because I'll take 12 points every week. But Pacheco and Pittman were definitely the big ones for me. Obviously, that felt good. And then everything else was pretty solid after that. Like we talked about, you get 10 plus points at each position, and you're doing pretty well, especially if you pick a better quarterback than I did this week.
So look at that. Look at that for White. He's not a fire, and he's putting up a solid 16. Like,
yeah, so what is it? And even Henry.
Yeah.
So I think it must be their percentage of their threshold. That's probably like too close to their expected.
Really? You think
that's what I'm guessing?
They have the projection. It must be above many points of their projection rate. Yeah. That's crazy. Because I mean, I feel like Fancy should definitely have honestly, in my opinion, he should have a fire next to Henry, White, and London. We'll have to look into that and see.
Well, yeah, at least one of them.
But Matt, great pick on Stevenson and Evans. That played out really
well. Evans so good.
But yeah, I mean, me and Matt with Njoku. I actually didn't really get to look at your guys' lineups this week. I know I send them over to you, Matt, but you get to. I don't even know if you really pay attention to them that much. But so I've won what? I've won 3. You both won 1. Oh no, yeah, right. We've been doing it 5 weeks.
Yeah, we've all won. We've all won once.
I've won 3. Yeah, I've won 3. You guys have each won 1. Shocker, but
this should have been Matt's week if we would have continued winning like we were winning.
Yeah.
So, what the hell? You stole it from
skipped over Matt.
Hey, you know what? That's not on me. That's on Pacheco. But no, anyways, we'll get into the lineups for here for week 13, I believe, right? Yeah, week 13. So all different quarterbacks again. We do.
You guys got opposing quarterbacks. Wow, interesting. I'll be excited to see how that unfolds.
All right, so
you guys did too. Minnesota or not Minnesota, Minshew and Mayfield.
Yep. So I've got a question for you since you locked in with Carr. So for my home league, I've got a decision. So both you can chime in because it relates to both of you. You chose Derek Carr because you saw something in him for this matchup. I've got Lamar on a bye. So it's Carr or I picked up Jordan Love after last week's performance.
They're playing they're playing. Ooh. See, that's easy for me already. I'm fancy might say Love, but for me, Derek Carr, think about, I'm just being realistic. This is not jabs towards the Lions. The Lions have let a lot of points now to the Bears and the Packers, who I feel like are less offense than the Saints. I feel like the Saints have, especially if Olave is still questionable with the concussion thing. That's why I didn't bubble him on this week.
Right.
But to me, if Olave is healthy, they have Taysom Hill, Kamara, Olave, Michael Thomas. I mean, they have weapons. They have Taysom Hill to go in and out, as we all know, right? But the Lions defense, if they don't start becoming what they were in the first couple of weeks of the season, are going to be in these closer games where it's going to be a lot on Jared Goff. I do like the Jared Goff pick. I think he will do very well against the
I think he's
Saints.
got to bounce
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
And I do like that. But the reason I went lower with Derek Carr because I wanted Tyreek Hill just like you did, and then I
Yeah.
wanted
That
Debo
was
and I
tough.
wanted
That was tough.
I wanted to get in some higher guys that I think are going to do well. But I think Derek Carr could put up similar numbers to Jared Goff this week, just
That's
because
fair.
I do think that Lions Saints game can be a shootout, and I just don't like Jordan Love against the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense has been rough against opposing teams. Like, and they turn the ball over a lot. They get a lot. I mean, Chris Jones is when the Eagles played him, Chris Jones is a monster, and I don't think the Packers have an offensive line like the Eagles. And if the Eagles let up that much pressure from the Chiefs, I think Jordan Love is gonna. I don't think it's gonna be Jordan Love's fault. I just don't
Yeah.
think the Packers are suited this year to play against the Chiefs.
All right, I'll keep you posted on my decision.
Yeah.
But I've got till Sunday.
Yeah, I mean that's my other one. I know we're not even going into our fantasy things here, but mine's CJ Stroud or Jared Goff. CJ Stroud against the the Denver Broncos or Jared Goff against the Saints. It's like, you got, like I told you, I got St. Brown and Laporta. I won't start Laporta. I'm going to start Hawkinson, or no, I have to start Laporta because Hawkinson's on a bye.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So do I triple
Lions.
down on Lions? Do I go Lions already? But no. So for me, real quick to get into these, we'll post. I keep saying we'll post these. I've been so bad about it.
Maybe this week.
Yeah, maybe this week. Keep checking our socials. We'll we're testing you guys out. We're waiting for someone to complain.
Yep.
But no, I was hoping that I was really hoping that that Fancy was gonna go Najee Harris this week because every single time he picks Najee Harris, he does good. So I was like hoping to get a little low buy on Najee. But what I like about my lineup, if you guys can kind of see if you're zoomed in, is all the greens, all the opponents' rankings at those positions are good. They're all in the 25s or above. So I like it. Me and Fancy both went double tight end. I don't like doing that, but when I went with Tyreek and Debo and White, I mean, that's what you have to go low somewhere. And Freiermuth looked amazing last week with Matt Canada gone and Pickett threw. I think it was 130 yards or 100 plus easily for that tight end. First game back, I believe. Obviously, you went with that route too.
Same thought. Yep.
And man, I didn't even think about it until now. I did mine during my stream today, so you got the advantage. But Zach Moss at the price of 4,600.
Yes, sir.
That'll be mark it down right now. That'll be the play of the week. Jonathan Taylor out for 2-3 weeks, undergoing hand surgery, I believe. He'll be back, but Zach Moss is going. I mean, he was still getting 10 to 12 carries a game with Jonathan Taylor there. He's going to get 20 at least against Tennessee.
Yeah, I think that might be the deciding factor. As such a low price, right? And then I think he'll dominate.
Lots of questions for you too, though. The questionable,
Oh, I know. So
I mean, I don't know if Achan's back yet. Montgomery, what's going on with him?
Again, I'm taking that gamble. Again that he's back.
Yeah, if Achan's back, he's putting up 40.
Yeah, I mean the combination, and so you're going to get in on it with Tua as your quarterback, Fancy. But I think this is a game against the Commanders that Miami's just going to light it up.
Yeah,
so that's why
we'll
I want every
those
piece
games,
of it.
Fancy. But I was looking at Tua, man. But we talked about it before. It's like, man, I think Derek Carr and you see the price ranges for our quarterbacks, right? We're talking about 3 different ranges now, and I think all of those guys can have around the same number. I don't think if we come back next week and it's between 20 and 25, I think I could see 20 to 25 between all 3 of those quarterbacks. And so for me, it's like, man, 7,900. I mean, I still like your team, but I'm like, man, I couldn't do it. I really like Tua this week, though. I really do. My girlfriend has got 2 on her team, and she also has Sam Howell on her team, and she was like, which one do I go with? And I'm just like, I mean, you have Tyreek Hill. I don't know how you don't go Tua and Tyreek, but fancy going with double Denver though.
Yeah.
Double Denver.
I'm really excited with what Denver's got going on, and at that price,
good for Russ, right?
Yeah, good for us. I mean, I definitely think he got way too much hate last year. I was worried. I was like, man, I hope he's not washed. But I mean, Judy, Sutton.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, the fact that Sutton is more than Judy, I'm just like, I think I can get
because he's a touchdown machine this year. That's why.
Touchdown a game.
Every game he's got a touchdown.
So I'll happily take
Yep.
both of those at that price. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
either you're
hard
gonna
not
get the
to.
yardage or the touchdowns on one of them, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you just gotta hope that they put up some points. Actually, before we move on from this, though, I would love to see. I don't think I paid attention to this. Okay, so that was your first week break. You
Yeah,
broke the streak. Broke the streak because you said to us, "I can't believe you guys aren't going with the Chiefs." One of you guys didn't go with the Chiefs. They put up 2 points. Okay, and
yeah.
then you have the Dolphins
I
this
had
week.
to, yeah,
I like all three of our defenses. I really do.
yeah.
I like all three of them.
Yep.
Fancy loves his Dalton Schultz too. But yeah, we'll post these on our socials. We'll see how we do. Like I said, I have 3 wins, and Matt and Fancy have 1 each. So I'm sure one of them are hungry for a
I'll take it down.
for a win. You know,
I'll take it down. It's all right.
do you want one?
I'll take it.
Fancy, you gonna give him this one?
I mean, I'm polite. After the L he just took on Thanksgiving, he can have this one.
Yeah. I mean, you already took the
Come
win
on.
from him on Thanksgiving. Yes, it's the least that you can do.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right, so
I can share.
we'll go to my segment here. We're going a little bit back to the stats within reach this time. I have 2, and then I have a who would you rather type of deal, right? I'm going to show you the stats. You're going to pick one. It's going to be tough. I'll tell you that right now. But for the first one, what we have here, obviously quarterback, player 1, 2,935 yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 107.4 quarterback rating. And then on the other side, you have 3,266 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 100.8 quarterback rating. So one side, you got more yards. Other side, one side, you got more yards, less interceptions. Other side, you got less yards, more touchdowns, more interceptions, higher QBR. So it's a little bit of a 2 out of 4 on each side. So who do you guys got? Player 1 or player 2?
I think the yards difference is pretty insane. I mean, more yards, of course, less touchdowns, but less interception. That
Four
big
more
of a gap.
touchdowns, like you said.
Yeah, that big of a gap on your QBR. I mean, 23 touchdowns. It's hard to scoff at. It's probably some loser like Josh Allen. I'm just kidding. Um, but I mean, I love the touchdowns.
Yeah, that is true. Fancy always goes with the touchdowns. I give him that.
That's
points
the
win games.
wins.
Yeah.
Points win games.
So same number of games.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't a different.
See, I'm torn because that's literally that's a whole game.
Yeah, worth of yards.
of yards.
Yep.
But I think I also have to go with player 1.
Okay.
Based on the QBR.
Yeah, before we show it, one of you is gonna be pissed. But there's no real bad option between these two. I just thought it was interesting. Like you said, Matt, the yards, right? And they play the same games. I thought the same thing. I was like, have these guys both been on a bye? Because I was like, man, 300 yards is a big difference. I mean, 300
is one of them CJ?
Yards. Huh?
Is one of them CJ?
Yep, one of them is CJ Stroud.
Yep. Okay. That's who I was. I didn't.
Dak Prescott. Yep.
Okay.
I was thinking Dak Prescott's giving himself a pretty good campaign there. Obviously doesn't have the yards, but they do have a better run game than the Texans do. And honestly, we've talked about it. A lot of the times the Cowboys do run away in those games with their defense, right? It's like all of a sudden pick 6, fumble recovery, touchdown, pick 6. It's like so those games do happen, which
what
do
is it,
affect
Bland?
quarterback stats.
What was the one that you did before? Bland, how many touchdowns?
Bland, how many touchdowns? Yeah, and I don't have a picture or I don't have a thing ready to go this week because it was kind of too much to do. But Deron Bland going into this week has more touchdowns than Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Derrick Henry, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave, Justin Jefferson, and Garrett Wilson. And the entire Patriots wide receivers.
Right. Wow.
Isn't that crazy to think about? So that does affect your quarterback, as much as we want to slander on Dak Prescott. I mean, you did say player 1 is probably a loser, and you said Josh Allen, but what you meant to say is Josh Prescott. And,
I mean, they're basically the same, so I still stand like I was right in what I was saying.
But you picked the wrong.
No, I mean, I was right that I was picking somebody like that, but I'll still take. I mean, look at the records. I still took the winner.
Yeah, that's very true. That's what I said. I think you take both quarterbacks. You know what I mean? One's winning. One's probably going to be very good going forward.
Yeah, for sure.
But this one's a different one. So I kind of have to explain it because it might look a little bit confusing because you kind of see yards, average, and then the receptions. So it's obviously a running back, right? Running backs. So on the left, you got 739 rushing yards, averaging 4.2 a carry, 6 touchdowns, 21 receptions, 167 yards. And then player 2, you got 672 rushing yards, 4.8 average. So you got more average but less yards. 5 touchdowns, 18 receptions, 138 yards, and he has 1 receiving touchdown as well that's not up there. So equal on touchdowns, technically, if you go to total touchdowns, right? But one has more receptions, more receiving yards. One has more yards. One has less yards. One has less receiving yards.
Okay, so 3 more catches
So it's not
for
McCaffrey.
30 more yards makes. I mean,
McCaffrey's probably already over 1,000.
that's like the same
Yeah.
pace. And if they got the same touchdowns, I'm gonna go with the higher average per carry. I'm gonna go player 2.
Okay, I like that logic.
And because the receptions are like on the same pace, if he had
Right.
21 receptions, and he should
Yeah,
be pretty close.
I'm torn on this one because I'm just trying to. I'm in my mind. I'm trying to think of who these guys
Right.
are. Did you pick Gibbs for one of these? Is who's in my head. I'm gonna go with player 1.
Okay. So it's a trick one, but not a trick one in a bad way. So player 1 is Derrick Henry, and player 2 is Zach Moss.
Oh,
Now, why I thought this was interesting is because obviously Derrick Henry has played every single game as a lead back, and Zach Moss obviously has had a reduced role when Jonathan Taylor is coming back, right?
Yep.
But it's interesting because it's like, Fancy, you've talked about Derrick Henry. How long could he? I mean, those numbers are so good. You would take that as your running
those
back.
are good
Absolutely. I mean,
numbers.
those are good numbers to have, especially on a bad Tennessee offense. If you give him a good line, you give him a better quarterback, they stop stacking the box on him a little bit more. I mean, he's going to go free a little bit more than that. But, I mean, you can't complain with Zach Moss, though. How do the Indianapolis Colts sign Jonathan Taylor for that much money when you got a guy like this making not a lot of money? It's like, ship him somewhere else, trade him, get some draft picks, man. You know what I mean? I get it. Jonathan Taylor's a stud. I'm not saying I wouldn't want him on my team. I just don't want to pay the money that they paid him. I don't know what the
Well, and
contract is.
it was
It's a
such
lot.
a weird scenario where
They said they wouldn't pay him.
why wouldn't they just move him? Yeah, you're right.
They said they wouldn't pay him, and then they literally paid him the second highest or something like that. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. And then you got, I think literally the game that they signed him and he came back, Zach Moss had like 180 yards or something like that. It's like,
Yeah, very, very crazy.
yeah. So I don't know what they're doing there. Obviously you'd be fine having either one of those guys, especially Zach Moss, a little bit younger. But this next one is going to be a lot to look into. So make sure you guys are looking at your screens. If you guys are listening, I'm going to try to go through all the stats that way you guys can kind of hear it.
Okay.
But you're going to have 4 options. All of them are quarterbacks. Player number 1. Now, this is through their first 106 career games as a starting quarterback. Player 1, you got 25,975 passing yards, 163 touchdowns, 98 interceptions, 89.2 passer rating. Player 2, you got 27,484 passing yards, 188 touchdowns, 118 interceptions, and a passer rating of 88.7. Player 3, 23,832 passing yards, 161 touchdowns, 83 interceptions, and an 88.3 QBR rating. And then player 4, you have 27,358 yards, 183 touchdowns, 78 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 98.4. Now, before you guys answer, I will say, because the other ones I make myself, this one that I found, and I thought it was really interesting. Matt, hopefully you're not Googling all this.
No, I was trying to do the ratio. I was trying to do the ratios real quick.
So I will tell you, when I saw this image before I went to the next one to see who these guys were, I picked player 4 because I saw. So from my perspective, I saw the most passing yards. I saw the second highest touchdowns. I saw the lowest interceptions, and then I saw the highest QB rating by 10 points. And I was like, that's a no brainer.
Yeah. So that's I was just doing the ratios real quick, but obviously like looking at it again now on that fourth one, that's what I lean towards. I was looking at the ratio between touchdowns, interceptions, and then the QBR or the Q. Which rating is it? Is it the QBR? Do you know, or is it
the QBR rating? Yep.
Okay. And then the 98.
Yeah. It was between player 2 and player 4 for me because I saw the most touchdowns, most yards, and like Fancy said, touchdowns win and all this other stuff. So
Yep.
yeah, I went player 4.
Yeah, that's my first instinct is to take 4 as well.
Fancy?
I mean, I'm kind of thinking player 2. I mean, it's a little bit more yards, a little bit more touchdowns. It's a lot more interceptions, but to only have a difference of 10 points in your QBR for, 40
Yeah,
more
but
interceptions.
98 through 106 is impressive. I think 85 and above is like
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm just saying like,
What? Yeah. What's do you know what the scale is?
I don't know what it is, but I know like
109.
I know like 85 and above would be like above average in the NFL. Like
Right.
that's
It's
what I
like
know.
none of these QBRs are
If you're
bad.
sitting at 100 on the season, I mean, we just saw what was the stats between the quarterbacks, right? This is between the whole season, right? So like this is them having a really good season. So this, I mean, think about it in your head, like a 20 to basically a 4-to-1 ratio is, that. So given their, given their turnovers, like Fancy said, their QBR rating is not. I mean, the QBR rating only being almost 90 with 120 interceptions, I guess, is pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like that's a 10-point difference and 40 interceptions is like they're making up for it somewhere else. Which
Yeah.
I mean, it's not in the
So that's
130
so.
yards
What is
extra.
that?
I'm going player 2.
Is that either
Completions.
Josh Allen or Dak Prescott? Then is that with those interceptions?
What player 2, player 4?
Player 2, yeah.
You guys ready? Wait, Fancy, you win 2 or you going 4?
I'm going 2. I'm
Okay.
going 2.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Player 1 is
Push
Drew
Manning.
Brees. Player 2 is Peyton Manning. Player 3 is Tom Brady, and player 4 is Dak Prescott. So that's what I mean, man.
Is Dak
As
good?
much as I want to hate Dak, I'm like, man, the stats don't lie. But I feel like Fancy, we've talked about it. You put a lot. I think like you put Trey Lance in there, and it's the same thing. Like I feel like it's just the product of the team and Mike McCarthy and whatever else. But yeah, I mean, I forgot that Peyton Manning literally still holds the record for the most interceptions thrown as a rookie, and I don't think it'll ever be broken. And he even said this too because teams bench their quarterbacks, their rookie quarterbacks, faster now than they ever have. I mean, he'd go out there throw 4 picks and he'd still be starting the next game. Teams just don't have that big of a leash anymore with these quarterbacks. But yeah, just some fun ones. Like I said, my eye caught right on to player 4, and I should have known there was probably like a trick in there somewhere. Like I was funny though, Dak Prescott or Josh Allen. I like that.
Yep.
But yeah, not Josh Allen. It shows to show you that even the greats start off with throwing a lot of picks. You see a lot of these quarterbacks because I started going into Peyton's career. He's very similar to Josh Allen with how many picks he threw early on, and then I think they kind of learn a lot more defenses, a lot of the tricks, a lot of the tendencies, a lot of these things as they keep going. And in their 30s, like they said, Brady between 30 and 40 was better than Brady when he was 20 to 30. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, they start reading these defenses better. You start when you gain that respect where you're not hopping from offensive coordinator, right? That's one thing that people don't realize about Mahomes is, Andy Reid's constantly just calling the play calls for them. So he's very, I mean, who was there? Oh, Justin Fields. Every single year he's had a different offensive coordinator, a different head coach. It's like, that's tough. That's very tough because you're not getting in sync with a guy. You're trying to learn as the season goes on. So,
same with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
What I'll tell you
absolutely
about those 3 guys is what's impressive as they go through their career is their ability to dissect that defense, audible into exactly the play that can beat the defense that what's showing.
Yeah, they know the one play that can beat the defense.
All 3 of those guys are just, obviously maybe towards the end of their careers, but really at least half of their careers. That was the most impressive thing about all 3 of those guys is they know exactly what they can do to beat that defensive play.
Dude, I remember playing Madden, and when you go against Brady or Manning, the fucking Madden characters would audible they would audible you on offense, and then on defense you'd audible back, and then they would audible again on your audible. It was the most annoying. It's like, dude, just run your computer, run the play. It's like, and like they made even though their computer is that good, it was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see. I guess we'll see how Dak Prescott's career plays out. I don't know how much longer he has in his contract, with the Cowboys, but we'll see, if they keep him. But we'll dive right into matchups of the week for week 13. Last week, We had Matt take the throne there with 12-4. Very impressive week. Could have been 13-3 if the Vikings didn't choke that one on Monday, Matt.
Yep, I know.
And then me and Fancy sitting at 10-6 apiece. Still a very good week for us. I feel like overall as a podcast, we had a pretty good week. I'm sitting at 49-25 on top. Matt in the middle at 48-26, and Fancy at 39-35. So
it might be a 1A, 1B, and then a 3 for Fancy, because I'm only one game back.
Yeah, you're catching up. I had a good lead on you last week. I had like 5 or 6 games on you, and then obviously you having that really good week. I picked a couple ones, man, where your Lions kind of hurt me, but it didn't hurt me in our matchup. But there was a couple from last week, man, that like the Patriots, that just man. So we'll get into that. But Thursday night we got Cowboys, Seattle. All three of us took Cowboys. As much as Fancy, I think I speak for you. As much as we'd love to see it, if it happens, we wouldn't be upset if Seattle did it. But in Dallas, the Cowboys are rolling. But hey, the Cowboys haven't beat a team above 500. I'm surprised one of you guys didn't take them. I thought about it because they have not beat a team above 500 yet. So maybe this will be the week. But if they lose, I'm gonna be on that ass all next week if they don't if they don't get a win here. I have a thing here with the Cowboys. 2 things actually, just me bashing them even though I'm taking them. The Cowboys have played the second easiest strength of the schedule by any team throughout Week 12 in the past 10 years. .384 opponent win percentage through 12 weeks. Only the 2019 Bills with a .339 played a weaker schedule through Week 12. Dallas has had 5 straight games against teams that are 500 or better. And then the next one, the Cowboys have played. What is this? Oh, that's the same thing. I screenshot it twice. Okay. So yeah, crazy to think about. That's why I was a little shocked. I'm not shocked, but I thought maybe Fancy. I thought maybe when I saw it, I was like, if there's someone that's gonna go with an underdog and it's gonna be against the Cowboys or the Bills, it's gonna be my man Fancy.
If they weren't Arlington, I probably would have taken.
I think I stand with you on that. I think that's what kind of that's what tilted it for me was they're in Dallas. Dallas doesn't lose in Dallas quite a bit.
That is the cheapest tickets I've ever seen. I think you can buy tickets right now for $16.
And last week you said during Thanksgiving was 30, right?
Yeah, so $16 to go to Jerry World. That says a lot.
Is that what you can't do the podcast Wednesday night next week because you're going?
Oh no. No.
You're good?
No. I go watch WNBA first.
So what I was looking at though when you said that about Cowboys, they do have the gauntlet coming up.
They do.
Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions, and then they finish off with Commanders. So you never know.
Interesting to see because
you never know what you're going to get there.
If they win here, they could go 9-3. But like you said, they go 9-3. There's a good chance that at the end of that gauntlet stretch, they could be 9-7. I mean, they don't have an easy way out of this. And the Eagles don't either. We still have the 49ers and then the Cowboys left. But we got through. We won 3 of it, right? We won the Cowboys. We won the Chiefs. We won the Bills.
Yep.
So if we go 3-2, we got out of it clean, because then we're going to go back. We played New York twice, which will be easy, and then Washington one more time, I think.
Yeah.
But the next one, I mean, come on. The noon games might be a little rough here for us boys this week. Chargers, Patriots. I mean, that's the last time I'm going with Patriots. I thought the only team. I thought Bill could get fucking Tommy DeVito fucking confused out there, and he didn't. Maybe Bill's washed. I don't know. Rumor has it that he's going to be traded to the Washington Commanders. I saw that this week. Next year. So I don't know.
That'd be crazy to see. I don't know how many times we've seen the coach getting traded. I know we did with. Was it? I'm trying to think now. Is it Rivera? What's his? Did he get traded? Yeah. Did he get traded from?
I don't know. I'm
trying to think.
There was a head coach though. I'm not sure. I know who you're talking about. Like I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. Head coach. Trade.
Are you stat checking?
Well, yeah. So John Gruden was the last one, and then I'm sorry. Sean Payton was the last one. And then John Gruden in 2002, and then Bill Belichick to the Patriots. So Bill Belichick was already traded.
Okay.
So it doesn't say where he came from. But then you go to like 1999 and like with like Mike Holmgren and then
Well,
like
he was
Bill
he was
Parcells.
with the Browns.
That's right. That's right.
So
He was.
I think that's what the trade
That's
was.
when he
Yeah.
got traded. So yeah, we'll see if it ever happens. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's definitely not his fault that they suck. I mean,
But they do suck.
they do suck, but I don't think it's Bill's fault. I just think the Patriots suck. It's their time to suck because they've been good for 20 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then we got Steelers, Cardinals. Steelers. I was telling you, Matt, before the podcast. First time. I don't know the exact number. It was like 40 plus games though, easily. Could have been even double that, where they put up 400 total yards, and it's the first week that they fire Matt Canada. So no shocker there. That's why I took them last week. I might have been the only one that took them last week.
The
Who do they play?
Steelers are on their way to take their conference.
Their conference or division?
Their division, I'm sorry.
Okay, I was to say conference is a statement.
16-10 against the Bengals.
Okay. Yeah, I think no, you know what, Matt, me and you took Steelers.
Yeah.
Fancy took Bengals. That's what it was. But yeah,
And it
Steelers
could have
win that
been
easy.
too. Oh,
Steelers win that easy. 8-4, looking good. I'm interested to see because that could be a sneaky playoff team with, like, you know how they say defense wins championships. That
Yeah.
defense is gross. And if they can get Kenny Pickett, dude, I don't know if you guys watched the game a little bit, but Kenny Pickett was throwing some dimes. I mean, it was almost like that offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, was really holding him back. Like, I mean, not saying he's going to be this top guy or anything, but like he was letting it fly. It was almost one of those like "fuck you, Matt Canada" things, you know.
Did you see Deontay Johnson?
Don't remind me. Do I had him on my fantasy lineup?
So no, but it was off the ball.
Yes.
It was a run play. There's a fumble. This kid doesn't move.
Yeah.
Didn't move literally a muscle, and he's just standing there as the ball
ball's
gets
right behind, like
fumbled.
right next to him. Yeah. And they pick it up and just go. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
And then he got the touchdown too.
Yeah,
so it wasn't a great one. Wasn't a great one. Man.
So if you look at our social media, right? We post about Pickens and his transformation of maybe being Antonio Brown, and then you see just a moment like that out of Deontay. Now it's, you know, what's going on with those wide receivers. Good thing Pat Freiermuth is back and he stepped up at that tight end position. So
yeah, I mean Matt might be making us a Deontay Johnson into Cam Newton TikTok here with just watching the fumble at his feet like Cam Newton did in the Super Bowl against the Broncos. And then we got we'll skip right through Colts Titans. I mean, it's divisional matchup, could go either way, I think, honestly. But Colts, I don't think I want to stat check this. I want to go through our podcast, but every single time I picked the Colts, I'm pretty sure they've came through for me. I don't think they've, even in my bets, I don't think the Colts have ever dropped the ball for me. So I'm just hoping it rolls through. I don't think that, I mean, we saw the Titans put up 16 points against the Carolina Panthers. So I think the Colts have better defense and they just win that game. But then we have the Texans Broncos. Fancy you're going with the Broncos. Not a bad pick. I mean, I think 5 straight wins now.
Yeah, they've definitely turned that team around. Looks like a lot more cohesion. Looks like everybody's at least reading from the same playbook now.
Yep.
So
Fancy just full on rooting for it. He's got Broncos, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, all the goods. Me and Matt sticking with the hot CJ Stroud there. I just like the matchup for them.
I think that's gonna be one of the better games.
It'll be the best noon game, I think, between them and the Lions.
So
Lions,
hold on one sec. Are we gonna see another? All right, you're gonna have to say the word for me because I was calling it an enigma.
So yeah. So
Are
me
we
and Matt were
gonna
talking
see
about
another one?
we've seen 2 scoregamis this season, and they've both been from the Broncos. 70-20, which Sean Payton has recited that he doesn't want to hear about that one ever again. And then the last week was 29-12. Scoregami, for those that are listening or watching, is a football score that has never happened before. So they're saying in the entire NFL history, the score of 70-20 has never happened, and the 29-12 has never happened. So now, obviously, if they happen again, it doesn't happen. But I wonder how many more scoregamis are out. I mean, sure, there's plenty. I'm sure there's crazy amounts.
Yeah.
But definitely thought 29-12 was a scoregami that, you know,
that's definitely something I feel like I've seen before.
Yeah, like if you told me that, you know, the Chiefs beat the Packers this week 29-12, it wouldn't be like, is that a scoregami? You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't like, you know.
Yeah, but 29 is an interesting.
It is.
I mean, how many 30-13s have we seen? And that's the difference of a field goal each. A point after. I mean.
Yeah.
So it's like
missed,
it was like probably the that was probably the most likely scoregami to have already happened that didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting.
But then we got the Lions and Saints. Fancy he's trying to curse the Lions again. Yeah, I mean,
Dude, I need
Lions
the
got Lions got to
Saints.
bounce back here. That's all. I mean, that's what I'm rooting for. Is not rooting for, but banking off of. I guess is
Yeah.
Lions got to come back. Golf's got to play well, and if they want to be a serious team and win the NFC North, they got to start winning some of these games like they were in the beginning.
I need the Saints to win, just for the sake of the Packers. But I have just given up. Like Derek Carr, if he's having a good game, he gets hurt. If he's, it's just like, just do something for me, please, please.
Yeah,
Like
just
I've given you more chances.
yeah. The Saints just, I picked them last week. I thought they were gonna play well. I haven't seen them clicking. I haven't seen the explosive offense that I assume out of Alvin Kamara you're gonna get. With Olave being questionable, and Mike Thomas out. And then my dark horse last week was Shaheed, and he's questionable as well. So
Yeah.
if that offense, can't keep up with the Lions, obviously they're my team and I'm going to pick them anyways. But if they don't have that offense that can get into a battle, I think the Lions can really run away with it, especially after that unfortunate loss to Green Bay last week.
Yeah. Fancy, before we move on to the next one, if Derek Carr has a good game and he gets the job done for you, does he get a clean slate?
He doesn't get a clean slate, but I'll give him another chance.
He gets another plate on the slate, like just feed him dinner.
I mean, I'll give him directions to the soup kitchen so he can eat. But he ain't coming to my house. Not yet.
Yeah. You're not the hand that's feeding him, but you'll make sure he's fed.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. And then this has got to be the shocker of the week for the entire podcast is me taking the Jets, and neither one of you taking the Jets. Finally,
I told you I'm done.
I
told you I'm
got
done.
you guys off of it.
Yeah.
And now and look, I threw this on. The last time that I took the Jets, I wore this because I said he's not even starting quarterback anymore, but it's for Zach Wilson throwing bombs, banging moms.
Wait, is that Corey? Is it a Corey Perry new sweatshirt? Or no?
You didn't hear about that, did you?
No,
you didn't hear about that.
We're a crossover podcast.
We'll crossover real quick. Pause, right? For you NHL guys out there, if you guys don't watch NHL, that's fine. All you need to know is the NHL does dad trips, mom trips, like that, right? So it's a way for the teams, all the teams do it. It's a way for the teams to get their players reconnected with their families. So they'll go on a road trip and they travel with their parents, right? So one weekend they'll do it with their dads and one weekend they'll do it with their moms. So they'll travel, to Canada, back and forth, whatever, to the games. So they all go to the games. They wear their sons' jerseys, all this stuff. Connor Bedard, Blackhawks, 18 years old, the second coming of Jesus, some would say. His mom obviously goes on the mom's trip. Corey Perry, who came in to the Blackhawks to protect Connor Bedard, 38 years old now, kind of just a gritty grinder player, known to be a little cheap, there to protect him. He took the sentence, take care of him like he's my own son to too far of a degree, and banged Connor Bedard's mom on the mom's trip and
allegedly
was cut from the team.
Allegedly.
Now, I read an article last night, not to get too into that, but I read an article last night that a Blackhawks official came out and said that is far from the truth, and that what actually is happening has nothing to do with any members of the team, is what Corey Perry did in his personal life. So I don't know. Maybe they know something that we don't know that they're not allowed to say yet.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
But definitely would be
funny.
Definitely would be tough because they said that Connor Bedard walked into the hotel room and saw his mom being banged by Corey Perry. So
that's tough.
Fancy loves that. Been there probably, but rough time, especially Matt. I don't know. I think you played hockey, right? You played hockey, and
yep.
I mean, their chirps are going to be loud. The chirps are going to be all throughout his entire career. But the way I look at it from a Blackhawks fan, happened with LeBron James. Didn't Deontay West bang his mom? And LeBron James is the best basketball player to live now. I mean, in many opinions.
Yeah.
So Connor Bedard could be the best hockey player to live, just because his mom got banged by another player. So, hey, I'll take the sacrifice for it if that's what needs to be had. Back to it, though. Jets, Falcons. Love that though. That's awesome. Also, fuck you for Patrick Kane. Now, back to it. Jets, Falcons.
That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother.
Oh, that's a really ugly sweatshirt. But
so
Jets, Falcons. I still think Tim Boyle's under center. I talked about it before. Arthur Smith pisses me off. Arthur Smith should not be a head coach. Arthur Smith is the worst head coach. Arthur Smith is a bad person. Arthur Smith steals candy from babies. That's what you heard it here first. If anyone banged Connor Bedard's mom, it's Arthur Smith, and that's illegal. Jets win this game 9-3.
The Jets, I think, are due to win this game. I just can't bet on like in my mind. I'm like, who's likely to do it? I'm like, not the Jets. The Jets are not likely to do.
You guys both
anymore.
Sent me your picks today, though. Wednesday. This morning, I woke up to Aaron Rodgers being placed off of IR.
He ain't gonna be there today.
I know, but you guys have had this whole theory about
my narrative. Yeah, that's been my narrative this whole time.
That's been the whole narrative is that if Aaron Rodgers is coming back, they're saying he's gonna be back by week 16.
Yeah,
no, he's
so
not.
This game he needs to win this game. The Jets need to win this game, and the Falcons are beatable.
I mean, so is the Jets O-line, which is why I've given up on him.
That's why I'm not relying. I'm just relying on the Jets. Jets interception off of Desmond Ritter. Arthur Smith's like, oh, dude, I should probably bench Desmond Ritter now. And then he throws in Taylor Heineke, and then he throws a pick, and then the Jets get 2 field goals off it. That's 6-3 right there.
I agree that the Jets defense is going to be a lot of that. But I just like as far as the Rodgers return, I'm like, there's no rush because until there's protection, because there's far more worry if you talk about playoff games that it's like Rodgers, we can't if he gets hurt again in the same season, it's like just
hang him up.
Just hang it up, yeah.
Yeah, which you'd be in tears.
So I'm in tears already.
Yeah. But then the next 3 matchups for us. Oh, okay. I don't even want to talk about Dolphins Commanders. You guys both, I think Dolphins, I think they just throw up 40 plus points on them. Bucks, Panthers, Bucks just better team than Panthers. Panthers are trash. They eliminate the chances at playoffs, like Fancy was talking about earlier, because Panthers are still not technically eliminated from playoffs, which is crazy to think about. But the game I want to talk about.
Oh, one sec. So you don't see. I mean, none of us did. You don't see the Panthers coming out with a new head coach, energy like the Raiders did.
I think it's so bogus. Maybe I'm biased because Frank Reich came from us, from the Eagles. But like, I think it's so bogus that they like the NFL like teams hire these head coaches and then like they give them a team like where you drafted Bryce Young over CJ Stroud, and then your number 1 receiver is 34-year-old Adam Thielen, and you're like, we're not a winning team.
Right, like, and it's a head coach's fault all of a sudden.
Dude, you just got rid of McCaffrey. You just got rid of you got rid of Hassan Reddick. It's like you get rid of all these guys, and it's like, nope, definitely the head coach's fault. It's like, what? Like, it just like, I don't know. I don't really care that Frank Reich doesn't have a job. He might even come back to the Eagles and maybe do some play calls for us. I don't know. But like, I just think it's so bogus that they do that. Like, it's just like, you didn't give this dude enough time. Like we talked about quarterbacks, they throw a couple interceptions, they get benched. It's like, you got to let them go through this stage. And then
there's growing pains.
Yeah, you got to let them go through 2-3 years and then call it. I think that's why you see a lot of these teams. They just, I mean, Nick Sirianni was 9-8 in his first season with the Eagles, and then the last 2 have been how good, So it's like sometimes you got to go through the growing pains. But I did not think that we all picked the Rams.
I just saw that too.
That's why I was like, boom, 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 3 games easy, and I was like, wait a minute, all 3 of us on the Ram train, huh?
Yeah, so I'll tell you this. I like Matthew Stafford. I like, not last game, but that matchup with Puka. But it was the Kyren Williams show coming back. He just absolutely lit it up. So that's where I was leaning towards Rams on this one.
Yeah. And even with him having a good game, Royce Freeman still had a pretty good game too. I thought he had like 70 yards still on the ground. It's crazy. I mean, I think they just dominated the run game in that game. That gave the Rams an advantage there. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're starting to finally see the Browns. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're 7-4. Last week they were, whatever. But I think we're starting to finally see that Browns defense not being able to win every game for them. And I think the Deshaun Watson injury is affecting them a lot more than a lot of us. I thought personally, I'm like that team's been winning without a quarterback anyways, so they'll probably still be solid enough. But I think
Yep.
the Rams just have so much offense. Like I mean, they can do it on the ground or in the air, and they're going to pick one of them. And
Well, yeah,
yeah,
and so Brown's defense is what each week you'll hear out of me is, I love that defense, but Myles Garrett, I don't. They kept speculating. I don't know what the report is. That arm was just dangling there for a lot of that game last week. So it'd be interesting to see. I probably should have done my job and looked into that. But yeah, he didn't look the same. He didn't, he didn't look like the scary um, player that he is. So I wonder if there's an injury there to that. I think it was his right arm, could be elbow, could be something going on there.
Yeah,
yeah,
I just don't see after the way the Rams offense looked, and I I don't think it's going to be like a walk off like they did against Arizona, but I mean I do still think the Browns defense is legit, but just not enough without an offense to even try to keep up.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if I mean, that could be one where we all. I feel like I would love to do that too. I know we don't have the ESPN network of it all, but when we all triple down on a pick, what our record is, like what the confidence level is in our.
Right.
I know Monday we lost for sure because we all took Vikings, but the last like 5 games last week we all had together. I think they went 4-1. So I would just love to see what our record is when we all three agree on one thing. Um,
Yeah.
but then we got the Eagles 49ers. You guys kind of let me down on this one. Thought one of you guys would ride with me. But you know what? I'll ride by myself. I'll ride in the sunset by myself. Matt, I hope this is the one that separates us this week. Where are we separate on any one of these? Yeah,
So
we're
it's
separate on
going to
the
be the
Jets
Jets. Yep.
and the Eagles. Well, hey, you know what? If the Jets and Eagles get it done, I'm up 2. That's the
Yeah.
way I look at it. I'm throwing $100 down on the Jets and Eagles.
So listen, I told you, before you tell me how good the Eagles are, which you're right. I was on the fence. Probably as we're going through this today, I'm still on the fence. But I'm leaning 49ers. Just because that offense is looking good now that Ayuk's back. And then McCaffrey. McCaffrey is an absolute monster. So hopefully it's going to be a good game. But my lean, I told you I want Eagles plus 3.5 if I can take them, but we got to pick a outright winner. So I had to lean towards the 49ers.
Fancy.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the if the Eagles win, I mean, I'm surrounded by Cowboys fans down here, and just to hear them bitch and moan, whatever happens, happens. So, um, either one of those teams winning is gonna it's not gonna help the Cowboys necessarily. And then I mean, the Eagles have won, and winning is winning, bottom line. But they've been pretty close. Now, granted, I mean the Niners went on a fucking little streak there, sucking.
3-game losing streak.
Yeah, and I think that was their slump. And I think it's over.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I think the Eagles went through their slump and came out of it positive. They got by. I mean, there's no reason the Bills blow that game. There's no reason the Chiefs have so many drop passes, and it's like they. I mean, they could be the Niners and the Eagles could easily be the same record going into this right now, fighting for number 1 seed in the NFC. So, with that being said, I mean, I do see them very equal and probably in the NFC Championship together.
Yeah. See, and for me now too, I feel like this has been like the third straight week. I'm not trying to be biased, but I feel like this is like the third straight week now where, well, 3 we had a bye, but so 4 weeks, but 3 weeks total of us having games where, you know, the Chiefs, or I'm sorry, the Eagles Cowboys game wasn't a Sunday night football, wasn't a Monday night football, wasn't a Thursday night, no prime time, right? Chiefs Eagles, not prime time. No, I'm sorry, that was Monday night, right? But then tonight or this weekend, another 3:25 or 4:25 Eastern. It's like
Yeah, why'd they get bumped to the afternoon, but not the Sunday night
Right.
game? That
We
doesn't
got
make
bumped.
sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why did like I'm not trying to take away Fancy's, Sunday night football, but I would I think America, like they could get their highest ratings watching Chiefs. I'm sorry, Eagles 49ers. I mean, that's the NFC championship rematch from last year. And it very well could be the NFC championship this year. So it's
Yeah.
like, how is that not Sunday night football? It doesn't make any sense. But anyways, we'll get into, I'll get into the game. Obviously, or the 49ers, like you said, they have weapons, man. McCaffrey. That's why I took Debo in my DraftKings lineup. I think Debo will have a good game. He typically does pretty well against the Eagles. I call that out with Terry as well. Against the Eagles, I typically know who. I mean, Fancy. I'm sure you know the positions too. Like you said, when Najee went against the Packers, you kind of know the positions that hurt you.
Oh yeah.
When you watch those games, it's like, damn it, that's the same thing every time. Um, but the 49ers claim that they whined all last year that they would have won if they weren't all hurt and all this other stuff. And that's the case for a lot of teams. I feel like every team can make the case that they're hurt come playoff time. It's like the Eagles are still hurt in positions. It's just that's the way football goes sometimes. So I just hope that it's a clean, good football game, like the Eagles Bills game was. Just let them play. I'm okay with letting a couple calls go both sides as long as we're just gonna let the boys play. Let them play, show some good football. But obviously, I want my Eagles to win. Jalen Hurts, 8 consecutive games, win trailing by double digits. No other quarterback in the league history has done that. The closest person to it has 4. So he's doubled that. And then he's also won 14 consecutive games against teams with a winning record. So I'm just banking on that to be 15. All those that I just mentioned are records held in the NFL. So I think that's pretty dope. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a really good game. I just sucks that it's not a Sunday night football. So it would have been really cool to see it on Sunday night, but you know, guess we'll all be watching one game on the because I mean, who's gonna watch the Rams, Browns, and Bucks, Panthers when you can watch the Eagles, 49ers? So, but Chiefs, Packers, obviously fancy going with the homie pick. Yeah, I mean, Matt, you said it before we started the podcast up. I texted you guys when the Chiefs were down 14-0 against the Raiders, and I said, did the Eagles break the Chiefs just to be funny? And then obviously the Chiefs come back and they shove my foot in my mouth. But you know, I wasn't upset about it like we've talked about before, Fancy. As much as it hates to say Chiefs would be Fancy has Packers, Chiefs. Matt, you have Lions, Rams. Mine has always been kind of Eagles, Chiefs, anyways, because my family's Chiefs fans. So I grew up with Dwayne Bowe jerseys on and Derek Johnson and Jamal Charles and all the other stuff. So and then obviously Andy Reid. Andy Reid with the Eagles and in the Chiefs. So I'm okay with the Chiefs winning that one against the Raiders, but I do think they win against the Packers here. I think it's gonna be a closer game than people think, though, Fancy. I will give you that. I will give you that. I think 24-17.
Yeah. That definitely is something I thought about really hard. The first NFL game I ever went to was the Packers at Kansas City, coming off the Super Bowl win, and we were undefeated, and the Chiefs were like 2-14, and we lost. And
Alex Smith.
I no, it was before him. It was like it was like 2011.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I couldn't name a person on that team, and neither could anybody in the Kansas City facility that day. But that being said, it's tough. But being in Lambeau, got a little momentum. So there's quite a few games that we've lost that, and I mean, not to bring this back up, Matt, but it's like Detroit shouldn't have lost. I think there was bad management as far as what to do on fourth down that
Yeah.
cost them the game.
Dan Campbell
Uh,
owned up to it.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think which he trusts in his players, which I think any head coach could do. That's beside the point. Like I definitely, I applaud him for going for it because it's all year long. Don't change it. Don't change it. But the Packers have had the same kind of thing where it's like you guys had the opportunity and just let it go. And the Chiefs have also had a few opportunities that they've let go literally through their fingers, and I think we take advantage of that. And I mean, squeak one by.
Yeah. I think it's closer than people think.
Yeah, Reed's been nice. Watson's, starting to play a little bit better.
Yeah,
I
Watson,
picked him up
Dobbs,
this week,
Reed,
man.
all those guys.
I picked him up
Yeah.
in Beast Nation this week, dude. I got a bunch of buys this week, and he was available in that league, and I was like, holy shit. He's only projected 10. He doesn't I mean, back-to-back weeks, he's caught a touchdown. Not to cut you off, Matt, but I was like, man, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm going to be screwed on a flex play here because I had so many guys out.
Right.
Obviously, we have 6 teams in the buys, right? And, I was like, man, I'm really going to be hurting.
big
I look
bye
back
week.
and Watson's there, and I'm like, wow. So, gonna have to get him involved if they're gonna be getting that game close.
Yep.
So.
And then what I was gonna say is on the other side of the ball, you talked about Pacheco, 2 touchdowns last week. Yep. Clyde Edwards-Helaire actually almost snaked those.
Dude, I saw him running. I thought it was like a fat midget who was
weird.
like stealing candy or something, dude. I was like, who is that? And I was like, that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah,
what happened?
Was weird.
Was he working out with Eddie Lacy?
So yeah, he was chasing those donuts and almost got in there. But 2 touchdowns from him, and then I think we talked about it before, but Rashee Rice, I had hopes from him a couple weeks ago, stepping into this, as the standout receiver because nobody can catch a ball in Kansas City apparently, and he came alive this last week, 107 and a touchdown. So. Yeah, Pat Mahomes back there. He's gonna find a way.
Yeah. Are you regretting that Rashee Rice Chuba Hubbard trade yet?
Well, absolutely.
Are you? Chuba Hubbard had a good last week.
Well, I had to drop Chuba. Yeah, so because I brought HM back off the IR, and that was the spot that I had to drop a running back.
Yep.
So he was the low man on the totem pole, and then Chuba obviously gets it done. So that was a disappointing trade on my part.
It happens.
But I had to try for something. I needed.
Looking back at it, like 2 or 3 years ago, I traded St. Brown away for Terry McLaurin because Terry McLaurin looked better, and St. Brown was still a rookie at the time, and he wasn't. I was just trading on a high value, and I just let it go. And it was a dynasty league, and now I have Terry McLaurin instead of St. Brown. So
the trade I tried to push through, our trade deadline was today at 12 though. I tried to trade Puka for Jefferson, to a guy that can't make the playoffs. Tried to steal Jefferson from him. He wavered and ended up not doing it because my benefit was, hey, you get Puka this week. Where Jefferson's just sitting on your bench. You've only got 2 more weeks. What's the point? Give him to me. Let me win a championship with him. But couldn't negotiate.
If I'm not winning, you're not winning. Yeah.
Yep. Couldn't negotiate my way into that one. That would have been nice.
Then last game we got Monday night, Jags Bengals. Jags all the way. Bengals backup quarterback did not look good last week at all. Poor Bengals fans. Poor Joe Burrow. I wish he could come back. He's not going to this year, but
yeah, your boy Joe and
after
Bengals,
I said that video, he hasn't played a single game after, so that's tough. Yep. I'm sorry, Joe. That's on me, and I'll take that. That's a chip that I have to put on my shoulder for the rest of my life. And then we got Ravens. Like I said, it's gonna be a tough week for fantasy owners out there, man. Ravens are gone, or Ravens bye week. Bears, Bills, Raiders, Vikings, Giants, and that's a lot of big guys, in the bye. So people are going to be struggling for some depth. If you guys have any questions on who you guys should pick up, leave us a comment down on this video. When it's uploaded, we'll give you some advice. This player, we'd love to get back and help you guys out and win some championships because these next few weeks are going to be some big ones to get into playoffs. But our last segment that we have is trivia with Matt. So Matt will get right on over there. Well, let me remove that real quick. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Just a schedule. No teasers. I didn't even look at it yet.
It's just trivia time. We don't need the schedule. Yeah. All right. So trivia time. the most exciting part of the show.
Absolutely.
To end it.
Some people say that they skip right to this just to hear you talk. That's what they say.
Perfect. So with this one, Fancy in his mathematical mind can figure this one out. I've got 2 questions for you. First one, let's go ahead and throw that up for us. So first question, how many total regular season games will be played this season?
Like by team, that'd be too easy.
So just total games. So how many
17
games?
times 32? 17. 500.
568.
544.
Okay, you're
what did he say?
He just threw out a number. That was pretty good though.
What did he say?
568.
Who's closer?
What was your number?
5. Wait, what did I say?
544.
There you go.
Okay, so Jake, you are halfway home.
Oh,
so 540.
halfway.
So you do the math again out loud.
32 times 17, 544.
Okay, and how many teams play out at the same time?
Oh shit! Wait, no.
So, yeah.
There's 32 teams.
Okay.
They all play 17 games.
Okay.
So would that not be 32 times 17?
It would be, but then there's two teams playing at the same time.
Oh. So
cut that bitch in half.
2. So 544. 250 would be half of 500. 22. So 272.
There we go. All right. Yeah, but that was all right.
Wow. Why was it so? Why basically did you not just do 17 times 32 in your head and then be like, well, like
that's a number.
I thought I was 5. I honestly, when I said
I still don't understand.
So there are 18 weeks in a season.
So he doesn't mean.
Oh, because you got to cut it in half because
because they only play
the games that we watch. Okay, like matchups, not like
So 18 weeks. Everybody gets a bye.
The games that the teams play. It's the games that the matchups are played. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
So you walked through and you did the math correctly. You just had to account for
those of you out there. I know my math, so fuck off.
So perfect.
He's wearing a 7-Eleven beanie for those that aren't watching.
Yeah. Dude, this shit's fire, bro. I got this at a 7-Eleven.
I believe you. I have one at my down the road that they sell them.
Dude, they're fire, dude. Dude, you're wearing a fucking yellow circle with a white dude in it jumping.
That's a football.
Is that an actual logo or
it looks like a
this is throwback. Shout out Failboat Express. He got this for me when he was in Vegas.
Are those the original packaging Packers or what? I mean, what is that?
I don't know.
See, that's what I mean. I know this is from 7-Eleven because I got it from 7-Eleven and it's 7-Eleven. You don't even know what he's wearing.
It's officially licensed right here.
Yeah. By who? Do you know what that is?
That's 47 brand, I think. Or New Era?
That's New Era, yeah.
That's New Era, yeah.
All right.
So, all right, second question. Longest field goal in NFL history. Give me the kicker and the yardage.
Can I put in a bonus point to at least give me 1 point? It was against the Lions.
Go ahead. Well, of course.
It was against the Lions. Justin Tucker, Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to say
yardage.
66 yards, yeah.
Consensus?
He said 66.
That's 100%.
It. Wow. Look at that.
So last year.
He beat the Lions too, by the way.
Last year.
Who hasn't?
With under. Fuck off. With under a minute to go. Literally, there's no
last year.
Yeah, it was.
He's done it more than once. I think he broke his record last year.
Last year he broke his own record. Oh, were you thinking of another game that he did it to?
Yeah, dude, I was thinking of a walk-off against the Lions.
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just got mixed up then.
Yeah, last year, under a minute to go. Literally, Lions. Great touchdown.
Were you watching live?
Yeah, I watched it live, and it was absolutely disgusting. And somehow, of course, they throw Justin Tucker out for a 66-yard field goal. Are you kidding me? and of course drills
I
it.
mean, he striped it too, wasn't it, like right down the middle, like, and had yards to go. Like,
Probably good from 70. Could have set whatever record he wanted to do there, but yeah, 66.
That's
he's like, "Can
insane.
we move the line of scrimmage back a couple more yards? I just don't want this to be beat."
He actually asked if he could do a false start real quick.
Take a delay game.
Yeah,
Just,
71 yards, dude.
just move it
Just-
back. But yeah, so
Indoors,
dude,
man, he'd be a monster. He's a monster in Baltimore, dude, and I couldn't
Right.
imagine indoors.
so that
Wow.
or Denver, right? He would just be
A boot.
kicking it from end zone to end zone.
Yeah, you think
So,
it'd be like a Denver kicker that would have it for a while there, like Will Lutz. No, not Will Lutz. Who was the kicker for the Broncos for a while?
Prater.
Crater. And then who was after him? Who was recently? McManus? Yeah, McManus. He's with the Jags
McManus.
now.
Yep,
Yeah.
and he had a leg on him as well.
He had a leg on him. Yeah,
and
imagine like
then-
Greg the Leg or like Janikowski or Guskowski, both of those guys.
Yeah, just
Guskowski dropped off, dude. I mean, now we're just talking about kickers, but Guskowski, he won how many Super Bowls with the Patriots, dude? And then he like left the Patriots. I think he went to like the Raiders, and then he just who knows what he's doing? Maybe we can get him on the podcast.
that's the big dude, right?
No, that's the Jakowski or it's like Janikowski or Janowski
Oh, okay.
or whatever.
Okay.
He's from the Raiders. That's the big boy. Yeah, like he's
Yeah.
big. Guskowski, like he kind of looks like Justin Tucker in a way, but he won all those rings with the Patriots right after what's his name went to the Colts. Vinatieri.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Vinatieri didn't really have a leg on him. He was just very accurate and clutch.
Right.
So, but awesome. Yeah, look at this. You got us doing math, dude. Like,
Yeah, that's why I had to do two. One was a general
was
trivia
math,
question, right? And then the math one, I just want to see. I want to see your brains, working again a little bit. So
work a little bit. I like it.
Yep.
But yeah, that's all of our segments for this podcast. You guys have anything else you guys want to add or say before we tune off?
No, I think that pretty well sums it up for all I got to say.
Yep. So I got a new trophy in the background. Shout out 4-time charity cornhole tournaments champ right here. So I had to show that off.
Since the Lions can't win, you got to win something, right?
Yep. So I got to throw my new hardware up there.
See what you're doing to him, Fancy?
I love
Self-confidence through the drain.
I got cornhole bags here. Whenever you want to get beat again.
Bags, by the way, but I will say before we go, Matt, I do have a question for you because you guys mentioned it, and I'm surprised we didn't mention it during the Lions game. Not to like go completely back into the game, but Dan Campbell, you love a coach that makes the risks like that, and you love a coach that can take like that's on me, I got to be better, whatever. But I also kind of love the fact of like he goes for it so much, and like Mason said, it's working all season long. You should keep doing it, but to what extent, right? To what extent do you go, okay, this is crazy. We're on our 20 right now, and it's 4th and 5. It's like,
Yeah.
this isn't Madden where you're getting the ball back. Like at some point, it's too much, and I think he crossed that line like very. It wasn't like a half field, 4th and 2. It was like a 4th and 5 or 4th and 7 on like the 22. I'm like, dude,
Right.
like I love it, but like
That was the
come
fake punt, right?
yeah.
So
I'm like,
I mean,
come on,
you want to keep your identity.
Yep.
You want to keep that grittiness that you're just you're gonna do it and you're gonna be successful. Obviously, you see, we've got to even out at some point, right? If you take all those risks and you're successful, the percentages are a lot lower than what we've been at. So unfortunately, it all kind of came together in this last game
at the wrong time.
at the wrong time. But yeah, that's his mindset. That's the identity of this team right now is they're going to do it and, stop us. And
I mean, I love it.
Packers got it done, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
I love it, but I think that was the only one where I was like,
yeah, 4th and 2 is different than like you're saying.
Yeah, 4th and 5, 4th and 7 on your own 20. It's like
tough. That's tough.
And you're already down, you're already down 10, I think, or something like that. It's like, ugh. So that was me watching. I was eating my turkey Thanksgiving, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh boy. Especially when you got -3 in that game.
And to be honest,
it's an identity though, dude. Because defenses are like, fuck you guys, man. It's 4th and 2, punt it. It's like they're tired, man. They know mentally, like, yeah, we might stop them 3 times. We're gonna have to stop them 4. It's like it is a mental battle and a physical battle that he puts them into. So it works. It does.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's the thing is that to be honest, like if I've watched the Packers for a long time get absolutely wrecked on going forward on fourth down. So it's like I don't blame Dan Campbell for still trying because I'm like the fact that we stopped you once or twice, I was like, that's a win, you know. And then the fake punt, I was like, oh, that's going for a touchdown, and somehow we stopped that. I was like, and every time that y'all went for it and it didn't work, I was like,
Right.
oh, like
Packers Super
I mean,
Bowl
I
guy.
was shocked, you know. So
Yeah, but
uh,
that those can really swing the game, right?
Yeah.
Like if you get
Yeah.
those,
Yep.
that momentum is going to be
I
crazy.
mean, some of the
moving
best head
forward.
coaches do that. I mean, look at Doug Peterson in the Super Bowl with the Philly special. That's a crazy call. Like that's a crazy call to have
Yeah.
against the Patriots. I mean, yeah, that's different because you back them into the end zone. If you turn the ball over, the Patriots get on the 1 or 2 yard line. It's different, but still, it's those risky calls that differentiate you from the top and the bottom, right? I mean, or the middle and the top. It's
that's a fun thing brought up though because Mike McCarthy eventually was booted out of Green Bay because they said he was too conservative at his play calling, and I feel like a lot of people like Dan Campbell, they like that aggressiveness. As far as from a viewer's standpoint, it's really fun to watch you go for it, and it's really exciting, and it does get your attention, and most of the time it works, and there's just one bad week, and I think, but that's where you got to balance between like let's go for it, and then it's like I said, if you kick those field goals and punt it away, that fourth down in the fake punt resulted in a touchdown. So if you take your field goals and then punt that away, we don't score again, most likely, and y'all are already winning going
yep.
in, to the last 5
Yeah,
minutes.
you got to balance out the pros and cons, and Dan
So
Campbell
it's
did not do it that week.
well, I mean, that's just it's tough
Yeah.
to because every
Yeah.
other time it's worked,
But
the conservativeness got Mike McCarthy fired, or let go, and so it's like it's one of those things where it's just tough. It's like, what do you go for? Do you go for the
yeah.
points and just count on
Well,
getting another
it's the
chance?
whole damn if you do, damn if you don't, because when you do it, it's like, oh, this is awesome, and then if you don't do it, it's like, why didn't he do it? And then you do it,
Yeah,
and you miss, and it's like, why is he doing that? It's like there's
yeah. Oh
no
yeah,
like
Yeah.
good side of it unless it works,
yeah.
and
You're
obviously you want it
always
to work.
wrong. You're always wrong. Yeah,
You always want it to work, but it ain't.
yeah,
It's the NFL. It just doesn't work that way.
yeah.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
that is it for us for the podcast. Then, lots of fun talk with you guys. Lots of good matchups this week, so we'll see. Lots of good football. Hopefully. But yeah, other than that, make sure you guys are following us on our socials. Matt's gonna be pumping out a bunch of TikToks for us this week, right, Matt?
Sunday night.
You got
Sunday
it.
night. Sunday night's gonna be the one
Sunday
where you
Sunday
guys.
night. Fancy's calling it. He called it last week. But yeah, other than that, we appreciate you guys, listening, following us, all this other stuff. Fancy said last week, let us know in the comments, what's the upset that you guys think is going to happen this week? Or, who are you rocking the picks with? Who do you like the picks better? If it's me, of course it's me. If it's not, maybe go Jets, go Eagles in the comment section. Let Fancy know that his mustache looks good.
Go
Um,
Broncos.
yeah, go Broncos,
Hey, let's
whatever.
all root for the Seahawks this week. I know we picked the Cowboys. Let's root for the Seahawks. Can we all
Yeah,
get behind that?
you get a go
Everybody
birds.
listening,
Get a go birds in
yeah,
the comment section.
yeah, a little 12th man.
I mean, we had like 3 stats for Dak and how good he was. So I don't
Yeah,
know that that's going to
yeah.
happen.
Hey, but also he hasn't beat a team above 500, so we never know. You
Yeah.
never know.
Pete
But
Carroll is a fucking beast.
yeah, he is.
Hall of Famer.
But we love you guys. We appreciate all the support. And all you guys listening and constantly tuning in every single week. And we hope that you guys keep doing that. We hope you guys love what we do here. We put a lot of time and effort into it every single week. And yeah, we hope to see you guys next week. See ya.
Later.